Here's the general plot of Trump's fake elector scheme. A series of contemporaneous documents demonstrate what President Trump and his allies, including attorney Kenneth Chesebro, were attempting to accomplish. The fake elector scheme was that they anticipated that the president of the Senate, which under the Constitution is the vice president, could rely upon these false slates of electors on January 6th to justify refusing to count genuine electoral votes. So the way that it works in the Electoral College, there's the popular vote. People vote in the state, and then whatever the popular vote is in the state, the Electoral College will then vote for the candidate that was voted for by the state. So New York, if New York votes for Kamala, that's the popular vote. We have two Electoral College, or the Electoral College votes for New York State, however many we have, because I don't fucking know. Those go towards Kamala Harris, and then that's the electoral process that these votes get sent in, and then the VP, House, Senate have a joint meeting to oversee the certification of these electoral slates, these electoral votes, according to who won the popular vote in each state. So they anticipated, Trump and his allies, that the president of the Senate, Mike Pence, could rely upon these false slates of electors on January 6th to justify refusing to count genuine electoral votes. The false slates were created by fake Republican electors on December 14th. At the same time, the actual certified electors in those states were meeting to cast their state's electoral college votes for President Biden. By that point in time, election-related litigation was over in nearly all of the subject states, and Trump campaign election lawyers realized that the fake slates could not be lawful or justifiable on any grounds. Justin Clark, the Trump campaign deputy manager and senior counsel, told the select committee that, quote, he had real problems with the process. Clark warned his colleagues, quote, unless we have litigation pending in these states, I don't think this is appropriate, or, this isn't the right thing to do. I don't remember how I phrased it, but I got into a little bit of back and forth, and I think it was with Ken Chesebro where I said, all right, you just gotta get after it. Like, I'm out. This person essentially rescinding themselves from the process. Despite the fact, got a little nose itch right there. We're an hour and a half in, folks. Despite the fact that all major election lawsuits thus far had failed, President Trump and his co-conspirators in this effort, including John Eastman and Kenneth Chesebro, pressed forward with the fake elector scheme. Ultimately, these false electoral slates, 5 of which purported to represent the, quote, duly elected electoral college votes of their states, were transmitted to executive branch officials at the National Archives and to the legislative branch, including to the office of the president of the Senate, Vice President Mike Pence. The fake electors followed Chesebro's step-by-step instructions for completing and mailing the fake certificates to multiple officials in the U.S. government. So essentially, Trump and his inner circle, and this fake elector scheme, I think, was created by John Eastman, who's, one of, Trump's puppets. He and Kenneth Chesebro essentially were like, look, we can't win these states that we're contesting, but we can fraudulently create alternative slates of electors and send them in to Congress. So that's exactly what they're doing. They're conscripting people in these states, which many of them have been indicted already, to be fake electors. These people are not responsible for electing the president, for submitting the votes for the Electoral College. They're literally made up people that are being used to say, they're literally signing a piece of paper that's fake. You can go look it up. That's like, I am certifying that Arizona was won by President Trump, and this is how we're going to vote. Total bullshit. The fake elector scheme. Look it up. I didn't think it was real the first time I heard it. I was like, yeah, that seems a little bit far-fetched that they would just have people in the Republican Party say, I'm an elector, and, fucking here it is, and just mail it into Congress and be like, sign this one instead, approve this one instead. But that's literally what happened. So the fake electors followed Cheeseborough's step-by-step instructions for completing and mailing the fake certificates to multiple officials in the U.S. government, complete with the registered mail stickers and return address labels identifying senders like, quote, Arizona Republican Party and, quote, Georgia Republican Party. The Wisconsin Republican Party's fake certificates apparently weren't properly delivered. However, so the Trump campaign arranged to fly them to Washington just before the joint session on January 6th and tried to deliver them to Vice President Pence via Senator Ron Johnson and Representative Mike Kelly's offices. Both Johnson and Kelly's offices attempted to do so, but Vice President Pence's aide refused the delivery. Despite pressure from President Trump, Vice President Pence and the Senate parliamentarian refused to recognize or count the unofficial fake electoral votes. Greg Jacob testified that he advised Vice President Pence on January 2nd that, quote, none of the slates that had been sent in would qualify as an alternate slate under the law, that the Senate parliamentarian, quote, was in agreement with his conclusion. So this fake electorate scheme is hatched by President Trump and his cronies. They tap these fake electors to send in these fake certificates to Congress that are not part of the election. They're completely made up. Again, you could go see them side by side, what the real certificates versus the fake certificates look like. It's so wild. Like you would think, like, this is the type of scheme that like a third grader would come up with, writing a fake letter and forging his mom's signature. And you're like, this is so obvious. The teacher's going to know. This is what, Trump and his cronies are trying. They're literally like, let's just send in fake certificates and pressure Mike Pence to accept them. That way Trump wins the state instead of Biden, who actually won the state. Mike Pence says no. He doesn't even accept the certificates, the fake certificates. So then Trump's like, all right, it's on. So January 6th rolls around because January 2nd, I think, was when Pence refused the fake certificates. So January 6th rolls around while Mike Pence and his family are hiding in a bunker under the Capitol with people chanting, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. Trump and Giuliani use this time to call lawmakers and representatives to convince them to delay the certification of the election and push forward the fake electors. So Trump's basically like, fuck Mike Pence. If he's not going to do this, while he's being commandeered under the Capitol with him and his family, I'm going to use this time while Mike is, free, being led to the gallows, to call these representatives and say, hey, you should probably accept these fake electors. You need to delay the certification of the election. There's a lot of fraud, blah, blah, blah. Him and Giuliani are doing this literally while Mike Pence and his family are under siege. U.S. prosecutors, this is a little tidbit I found interesting. U.S. prosecutors allege that when a White House aide told Trump, who was watching news coverage of the riot on TV, that Pence had been taken to a secure location, Trump responded, so what? So what? So what? So what? Mike Pence is in a bunker under the Capitol with him and his family, with people rioting, saying, hang Mike Pence, and I'm tweeting that Mike Pence betrayed the country. It's no big deal. Just let it happen. I love how Trump chooses to be mindful when the world is burning down around him. Like that's truly Trump's meditative experience, is like the Capitol on fire, Mike Pence being led to the gallows, the fake electorates being certified, election fraud, just like making these threats of election fraud with no evidence. And Trump is like literally at peace with people telling him, oh my God, like, do you see the riot? Mike Pence was just taken underneath the Capitol. And Trump's like, so what? Namaste. Lean into it. Accept it. Accept yourself. Accept others. Take a sip of this ayahuasca. Just let it be. Let it in. Let it out. Breathe. Just breathe in the chaos. Breathe in the fire. Breathe in the AR-15s. Stop the steal. In. Stop. the steel. That is Trump's piece. That is Trump's piece. So, and people are posting online. Again, I'm not an expert in the fake electorate scheme. I'm going off of the January 6th report, the Jack Smith indictments, the Twitter trail. And there are people that are posting online that, yeah, this happened, the fake electorate scheme, back in 1960 with the Kennedy election, Kennedy-Nixon, that this is nothing new. That Trump and his people are just using a tactic that Kennedy used back in 1960. There's nothing illegal about it. There's actually a big difference between what Kennedy did back in 1960 and what Donald Trump did in 2020, or what Donald Trump tried to do. So here's the difference. This is John F. Kennedy's fake elector plot in Hawaii. The fake elector plot in Hawaii during John F. Kennedy's 1960 election arose from a narrow victory margin, with Kennedy winning by just 115 points in the entire state of Hawaii, 115 votes. Republicans in Hawaii contested the results, leading to the creation of an alternate slate of electors that claimed that Nixon should be the rightful winner. However, this challenge was resolved relatively quickly when the state authorities certified Kennedy's electors, and the controversy did not escalate further. In contrast, Donald Trump's fake elector plot following the 2020 election was part of a broader coordinated effort to overturn the legitimate election results in multiple states. The uncontested election results. These were not contested by 115 votes. These were clearly won by Biden with no evidence of election fraud. There's a broader coordinated effort to overturn the legitimate election results in multiple states by Donald Trump and his cronies. Trump and his allies sought to create alternate electors in key swing states, claiming that they were the rightful representatives for Trump despite his loss for Biden. That's convenient that Trump is claiming that the only states that need to be fake certified, the fake electorates, are from the key swing states that would win him the election. Not, Idaho or Alaska, or North Dakota. He's not worried about the election, the election fraud in states that can't win him the election. He's only worried about the ones in the swing states that would entrench him in power. This plan culminated in an attempt to disrupt the certification of electoral votes on January 6, 2021, during which Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. Ultimately, while Hawaii's situation led to a swift resolution and certification of Kennedy's victory, Trump's efforts resulted in widespread legal failures and significant political fallout, emphasizing the extreme lengths to which he went to contest a legitimate election. So the big difference between the electorates in 1960 and 2020, 1960, isolated incident, 115 votes decided Hawaii. Nixon proposes alternate electorates, and then that's squashed completely. In 2020, there's an entire plot to overturn not just the results of one state, but 7 states, 7 key swing states in the election, using fake electorates, calling people, pressuring them to vote, using time while Mike Pence is bunkered underneath the Capitol to call representatives with Giuliani, which, by the way, if you look into this, there is no White House call log for 3 to 4 hours for Donald Trump during the Capitol riots. From like 2 p.m. to around 6 p.m., calls were not recorded as they usually were. And there was some excuse given for this, like some aide that was supposed to be there wasn't there. But there were witnesses to Trump making calls and Giuliani on record making calls to representatives and people in the legislature to essentially pressure them to say, hey, certify these electorates and also look into the election fraud. That doesn't exist. There's no evidence for it, but you need to look into it, all while Trump is bunkered underneath the Capitol with his family. So big difference between Kennedy and Trump.